In relation to that, I live in Glastonbury and has a whole bunch of people with different views. And in the shop the other day, I shared I was coming to see you, and I described you as truthful and loving and compassionate and all the rest of it. And I got asked, what does he transmit? As though that was proof of your soul condition. I just wondered if you had a comment on that, because people have said they've been to see teachers that transmitted energy, and they were like, wow, this is, you know.
Yeah, this whole idea of transmitting energy is very facade based. So, for example, if I am very aware of your emotional injuries, so let's say one of your emotional injuries, this is just not your real emotional injuries, it's just an example. Let's say one of your emotional injuries is you badly need men to feel that you're sexually attractive, right? And it doesn't matter what man you meet, if he doesn't feel you're sexually attractive, you don't like him, let's say, right? Now, if I could feel that from you and decided to transmit to you the feeling that you're sexually attractive, wouldn't I be just feeding your addiction? You would feel good. And potentially I might get something from you as a result of helping you feel good. But in the end, is that transmission of energy loving? And I would suggest it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that, like you said, it was facade and probably spirit influence as well. So you can't be clear on that, but I struggle to explain that to them because the wall is down. And
exactly. Most New Age people in the New Age face, if you can call them those, because that's what they really are, they have this viewpoint of the transmission of energy is the thing. And they don't care even really where it comes from. It could be coming from a person who's just trying to manipulate them. It could be coming from a person who's really dark in the spirit world, who's using the person on earth to transmit energy through. It could be coming from all sorts of sources that they don't really care as long as they feel good. And I suggest to you that a person who makes you feel good at all times is not loving you, because they are obviously pandering to most of your emotional injuries and addictions to make you feel good.
And that's not empowering either, is
not
it?
empowering. So it's also not demonstrating or helping you understand that where you're wanting certain things from people and dependent on people giving you those things, the way God created us with will is that we can be individuals that nobody else on this planet loves and still be loving. We can be individuals that nobody else on the planet cares about and still care for everyone around us. That's how God created us. We are not dependent on the flow of emotion from other people in order to be happy. That's the reality. And this is one of the beautiful gifts of free will, is that free will enables us to get into this state eventually where we are not dependent on what everybody thinks of us, what everybody does around us, what everybody wants me to do, all those kind of things, how everyone makes me feel. We are independent of that. And that, when you think about it, is one of the best places you could ever be, because now you are engaging your will, and if you do it in a loving way, you'll never have any negative, painful results, and neither will anyone around you have any negative, painful results from that actions that you take. So my suggestion to people is, if they are addicted to the transmission of feelings from one person to another, and a lot of these so-called gurus who are overcloaked most of the time by spirits are transmitting energy. The spirits feel what kind of energy the individual wants and then transmit that energy to that individual. And of course the person is getting their addictions met, so they feel good, but at the end of the day, it's been no good for their soul development, no good for their relationship with God, no good for their personal development, no good for their relationships. And that's not love also. Yeah. And it is hard when you're speaking with such people who believe in such things, because that's all they're focused on. I remember one talk I gave in this was about 7 years ago or 6 years ago in Australia, to a group of people who were only interested in the transmission of energy, which was an interesting...
I think I need to bring you to Glastonbury. That'll give them a shot.
Well, it's a very common New Agey type of concept, isn't it? This concept of energy transmission to make other people feel certain things. And while you can manipulate people that way, it's not loving to manipulate people. So I feel it's far better to just state the truth to people and let them make up their own mind, rather than me transmitting a whole heap of feelings to them while they're trying to make up their own mind. If you think about it, it's just the opposite of a person who gets angry with you. A person who's angry with you is trying to force your will into their concept of where you should take it. That's the reason why they're angry, right? They're trying to force your will to conform to whatever they believe. A person who's just giving you nice feelings is doing exactly the same thing, trying to force your will into a direction they want to take it. They've just learnt to use the carrot instead of the stick. That's the only difference. I would suggest it's still not loving. It's still an unloving process, yeah.